This is Season 2, Episode 9 of the TO SportsTalk podcast. I'm your host, James Price, along with Evan Brown. How's it going, buddy, on this Thursday afternoon?
Thursday afternoon, going great. But how's it going in your fantasy there, bud?
Tough week. Good win there. Solid victory.
Solid
that's what happens.
Sweep.
That's what happens when you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. When you have the first overall pick, you should win, right?
I tried telling you last week when, who was it? Was it Brampton Eskimos who beat me? McDavid was out one game, and who knows what could have happened points-wise. He's healthy. But Erik Karlsson is still out with flu-like symptoms for the last 9 games. So let's get going, bud. But anyways, let's go with the Raptors here quickly.
And they've struggled in the last couple games here, losing in overtime to Detroit. No Kawhi Leonard in that game because of, quote, load management. And then, obviously, the last game against the Houston Rockets, Raptors do not start on time. They play a great third quarter. They're up by 2 going into the fourth, and they crumble. The bench, more or less, crumbles in the fourth quarter, and they lose to the Houston Rockets.
I think if we had Kawhi Leonard in that game versus the Pistons, we would have beaten them.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm beating the drum for the whole season. Why are you resting Kawhi? Nick Nurse is obviously resting him a couple times a month. We can't help it, so let's just go along with it, right?
Wait, when was the All-Star break? Wasn't it at the middle of February?
I think so.
He's rested 3 times since then. So I don't know.
Is that a lot for you, or is that not too much?
Well, they're not back-to-backs, and I don't know. I when they're not back-to-backs, that's where I scratch my head a little bit. I understand, quote, I know it's load management, and if you look at the 2 teams that at least ones that are off the top of my head that he's at against, one was Orlando and then Detroit. So you think about those 2 teams, you don't really care too much. And the teams he did face, he faced Indiana, he faced obviously Houston last time, and Portland.
Yeah, and I think we're maybe, I don't even know the record without Kawhi Leonard, but it's definitely over 500.
It's still not bad, but it's because they were so good to start. I think it's still like 13-4 or 13-5, which isn't bad, but considering that at one point it was like 12-1 or something like that.
I don't know. I really don't have that much of a problem with it like I did before because Nick Nurse is obviously set in his ways. That's fine. He's the coach. But if we see us losing more and more games when Kawhi sits, that's a problem. I think we can both agree on that.
And the fact is, I mean, he's not going to sit in the playoffs. We all know that's going to happen. We all know he's not going to sit on, be out for, quote, low management in the playoffs. You're not going to see that.
So if the Pistons weren't on a back-to-back, we would face the Houston Rockets. Do you think we would have played Kawhi because the Pistons are in a playoff spot? They're in, what, sixth place now?
They're 6th.
They're a strong team. So my question to you, do you think Kawhi Leonard would have played that game against the Pistons if we weren't on a back-to-back?
It's not a back-to-back. You played Sunday against Detroit, and then you didn't play till Tuesday.
So this is a playoff team, and we sat Kawhi against a playoff team.
I guess just because it's a meaningless game for the Raptors in the sense, they've been really good lately, obviously.
We could be facing the Pistons in the first round. This isn't a meaningless game. This isn't a game against the Knicks. This isn't a game against the Cavaliers. Yeah. This is a potential first-round matchup.
Yeah.
So that's what I don't necessarily agree with. It was a tight game, went into overtime. I thought that we would have won that game, to be honest with you, but we kind of choked it away a little bit. And
the way that overtime went, it was the Raptors actually had a 5-point lead in overtime, and then the remaining 2.5 minutes of overtime, the Raptors did not score, and Detroit went on a 10-0 run and won it. Yeah. I mean, look, and then you go to the Houston Rockets game, and I think that game right there, it told me who I want to start at the center position. I want Serge Ibaka. Look, Marc Gasol, I get it. The veteran presence. He's done a lot in the past.
So you want Serge Ibaka?
I want Serge Ibaka to start. Watching him come out there, look, I like Nick Nurse, but I don't harp on him too much because it's his first year as a head coach, so I don't like reaming into him a little bit. But the move that I didn't like today in that game was that Ibaka came out there in the third quarter and went on an incredible run. Blocked 5 shots. Had at one point he had 5 points and 5 rebounds in that one third quarter. He was doing unbelievable things, and it got the Raptors back into it. I think Ibaka ended up being a plus 18 on the floor in that game. Okay. And in that game, you go into the fourth quarter, you got a 2-point lead. Now your bench is going to start. They're going to come out there and they're going to give you minutes in the fourth. Look, I didn't. The second unit was look at the plus minus for the bench in that game. I mean, it was terrible.
I'm looking at it right now. So you didn't agree with Nick Nurse's decision to throw out Marc Gasol in the fourth?
I agree with that, but he did not have a quick leash. I mean, look, in my eyes, when the Houston Rockets started making their shots, you got to take him out of there, fire in Ibaka, get your starting guys back in there as soon as you can. But he waited till about the 6-minute mark, the 7-minute mark to throw his guys back out there, and at that point you're down 14.
So it wasn't really Marc Gasol struggling offensively.
No, but
it was just him struggling defensively. And once you see,
sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. And once you see Marc Gasol and the rest of the team on the bench struggling, you would want to say, okay, guys, we're choking the lead here. Let's throw out our starting lineup.
As Matt Devlin on the TV broadcast says, they're leaking oil. And it's exactly what was happening in the game. And look, one play that I saw from Marc Gasol, and I'm like, I really hope this is not actually what Marc Gasol is the fact that it was a shot up by the Rockets. They missed it. And obviously the rebound was coming out. Marc Gasol didn't even go for the rebound. He was just kind of looking at it and kind of watched the play go right. He didn't even try to attempt to get the ball. And I'm like, Mark, what are you doing, bud? You're the center. You're supposed to be the guy that's supposed to be grabbing these rebounds for us. And then on that play, they get the offensive rebound, kick it to the corner, PJ Tucker for the 3, bang, and they were plus 11 after that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the small things like that I look at, and I'm like, man, Ibaka gives you he had 5 blocks in the game.
And also when it comes to Marc Gasol, he didn't look that bad offensively. I'm just looking at those numbers now. He had 18 minutes, 8 points, 1 rebound, 3 for 5 shooting. Yeah. His field goal was 2 for 2. I think Kyle Lowry was a bit of a
look. The starting unit didn't shoot well. They other than Pascal Siakam, Kawhi Leonard only shot 10 of 22, and Danny Green shot 4 of 13 as well. I mean, the starting unit didn't really shoot the ball that great in the early goings. But as the game went along, they did show up, and it was a big factor, obviously, in getting back into the game. But the fact that the bench, when your starters are almost all plus players, and then you look at the bench and they're minus 30s.
Oh, no, there's a problem.
That's a big issue.
Is there one player on the bench you could specifically say he's the issue? Because personally, I think it may be Jeremy Lin.
He's been rough. I mean, he has put in perspective. We all thought he was coming over here as the sharpshooter, right? He hasn't made a 3 as a Raptor. He has not made a 3-pointer as a Toronto Raptor yet.
And he's getting quote unquote
in that game against the Detroit Pistons. He shot 0 of 8.
Well, and he's getting pretty good minutes too. It's not like he's coming.
Well, in that game against the Rockets, he did only play 11 minutes.
That's still something.
Well, yeah, but he shot 1 of 5, and he missed the 1 3 he took. He was a minus 22. OG was a minus 30. Marc Gasol minus 30. And how is Danny Green and Ibaka? All your starters except for Lowry are plus 10 or higher. Yeah. And you lose.
And I think if we would have won at least either the Pistons game or the Rockets game, we would have clinched a playoff spot.
It's something like that. Milwaukee's already clinched, so they
now. We are 7-3 in our last 10, so we're not necessarily struggling. I mean, we're struggling for Raptors' point of view, we're struggling. Yeah. But as a team, we're still doing fine. On Friday, we face the Pelicans, which is a must-win game.
You have 3 games on the road now that are very winnable games. Like you said, you have New Orleans on Friday.
Yep. And then you have the Heat on the Sunday. And last but not least, you have the Cavaliers, which is a must-win game 100%. Now, the team that scares me...
Sorry, can I get back to the schedule for a second?
Yes.
Do not be surprised if on the Monday against Cleveland we see a load management for Kawhi. Because one thing, it's the second half of a back-to-back, and then you're facing the Cleveland
I'm
Cavaliers.
not surprised anymore. Listen, Nick Nurse is...
But that's understandable, though. That one's understandable.
Oh, yeah.
You're facing a garbage Cleveland team on a back-to-back.
Right, but for right now, he's the coach. He's set in his ways. I kind of bang the drum, why are you doing this, and you too a little bit, but listen, give Nick Nurse the benefit of the doubt. He's the coach. It's his first year. He obviously has a plan in his head, and he doesn't want to hurt Kawhi Leonard. He wants to rest him. Let him rest him. That's fine.
The Raptors have lost 2 straight games, and so have the Milwaukee Bucks. Are they thinking it's the end of the world? No. They lost to the Phoenix Suns.
And plus, there's a chance that we could potentially pass Milwaukee. Like, it's not out of the realm, because if you look at the standings right now, the gap between the Pacers and the Raptors is massive.
It's 4 games. Yeah.
It's big. And then what? It's 2.5? from us and the Bucks.
I just see it as 3 losses. And I think that's a lot bigger than people make it out to be.
Well, hey, they lost 2 straight, Milwaukee.
Right.
I mean, we did
I
too.
don't think they're going to keep that up. They play Indiana tonight, and Indiana, obviously the 3rd seed in the East. That's not going to be an easy game for them, but it's in Milwaukee. Look, I just don't. As much as I want the Raptors to be first place and to be that team and all that in a bag of chips, I don't think it really matters to me. Really, the way the playoff seed right now is exactly what we want it. Exactly what Raptor fans wanted.
So you want to face Brooklyn?
Not even that. I honestly, I hate to do this, but I look past the first round, and you go to the second round. Look, I'm sorry, with Boston and Philly playing each other in the first round, thank you very much.
So they would face the winner of us or
no? We would
Milwaukee?
face the winner of Indiana and at right now Detroit. We wouldn't have to see Boston or Philly until the conference finals.
So that'd be Milwaukee. So that's why you would want to stay in the 2nd seed.
Milwaukee, Philly, and Boston will battle it out. You won't have to see those 3 teams until, at the very least, the conference finals.
You're a little... I mean, there is a chance, though, that the 76ers could pass the Pacers. You got to worry about that.
That's the part where I'm like, I don't... Without Victor Oladipo, I don't see the Pacers hanging on to that 3 seed.
I'm surprised they're still in the 3 seed.
I am very much, too. But the again, the 76ers obviously have lost they're 6-4 in their last 10. So is Indiana. Philly has 1 more loss. So if you want to look at that column and kind of say that's a deciding factor, then there you go. But for Raptor fans, look. This right now is the weird part of the season. Right now is the weird part because we know we're in the playoffs. We know more or less which seed we're going to have. And you're just kind of playing out the rest of the season. Yeah. You want to be good heading into the playoffs, but Raptor fans, we've seen this in the past where the Raptors play great and win like 8 straight going into the playoffs, and then all hell breaks loose in the playoffs. So look, all it is just closing the season out strong. What is like, 15, 20 games to go in that range somewhere. Just grind it out. You're going to play some good teams in there. I mean, enjoy the emotional games, right? I think after that 3-game road trip the Raptors are on, they welcome in LeBron and the Lakers on Thursday, March 14th. So that's obviously going to be a big one, right? It's going to be emotional for a lot of people, right? Obviously, facing LeBron back in Toronto.
Yeah, so. I was going to say. So let's get into the Lakers a little bit, or do you want to stick with the Raptors? Because I think we talked about the schedule. We talked about what players are kind of not really impressing us that much.
Last thing, you just mentioned schedule. The Raptors' schedule moving forward is not very difficult.
Well,
for the rest of the season.
On paper, it's not difficult. But some of these teams that we face that are trying to make the playoffs, they're going to fight hard.
But from looking at it from a wide perspective, I guess. Yeah. The teams that I see are good. I mean, you could throw LA because LeBron James and the Toronto Raptors. You could arguably say that. Without saying Detroit, even though they've beat us twice, I'm not going to say them. You play back-to-back against OKC, and that's about it.
Well, and then you face, I see Brooklyn on there.
For dynamite teams. I'm talking like Philly, Boston, Milwaukee, Indiana, teams like that.
Brooklyn is still a playoff team.
Yeah,
and so
sure.
as Miami. I see we face Miami 3 more times. So that could be a dogfight.
By the way, Miami's jumped now into that 8 seed. So we talked last week about Orlando coming in red hot, and Terrence.
They were always in the 8th seed, I thought.
They are, but now they're in the 9th seed. They've lost their last couple of games.
No. I'm talking about Miami. No, because Detroit moved where the Hornets were.
They've won 3 straight. They were out of a playoff spot not too long ago.
Really?
So the whole bottom 3 in the Eastern Conference is a complete mess.
Yeah.
And then there's the Wizards down there. Yeah, they've won 2 straight, but they're still terrible.
So let's get into a team that's not making the playoffs, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers.
Thank God.
I don't care what anybody says. They're not making the playoffs, and that shocked me. Not. I mean, you can never count out LeBron.
They're 6 games out.
At the end of the day, once I see that E next to their name, I'm not completely counting them out, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
Speaking of E's, the Phoenix Suns and the New York Knicks have been officially eliminated, so that train is coming.
Yes. But it's there's no possible way that they can trade a player like LeBron James if it isn't working. I think they're gonna trade the core around him,
which is for Anthony Davis, which is so stupid.
Well, it's not stupid if it's not working now.
No, I know, but you add 1 guy and you trade 4. I mean, how's that gonna work for you?
Listen. The Lakers they can't go into next season with the same roster. Do you think they can?
Well, obviously not.
So there you go. And I think that getting an Anthony Davis, you're going to have to give up a lot more than he's worth, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you have that staple player on your team. You don't know how the chemistry is going to work with them. We thought that the chemistry with LeBron, Kuzma,
I
Ball.
wasn't bought by it. I mean, I thought they would make a playoff spot. I didn't think they were.
They started off slow, but I thought they would get it together. But who is that?
I don't know. I mean, Moritz Wagner. I mean, his picture is on point.
Geez, buddy, looked like he got stung by little bees, and it looks like
Where's
his
he from?
lips
Berlin,
swollen.
Germany. There you go, the 21-year-old. First round pick.
But yeah, I thought that once they started off slow, because they did, I thought they would get it back together. That didn't happen. I mean, there was a stretch in the middle of the season where they looked pretty good. But now it's just falling off.
And you look at the injury list as well. Lonzo Ball obviously has been out for quite some time, but I mean, I don't buy that at all because he's terrible.
Yeah.
And then Brandon Ingram's hurt with a shoulder injury right now. He's out for yesterday's game. He didn't play yesterday.
Hey, if you think about it, maybe this is what LeBron needs, just for him to carry the team by himself and not worry about any of the other rookies. Because, like you said, selfish basketball. And I think the Lakers and the Celtics are, especially the Lakers, really, selfish basketball. Everyone wants the ball. So I think with these players being injured and LeBron kind of taking the team on his shoulders, per se, I think that may work out for him. But it's going to be tough because the West isn't like the East. There's a massive gap in between the 8th seed and someone who's out of the playoffs. If
it's a 4-game difference between 8 and 9. I mean, that's big.
And then from the Lakers to the Clippers are in 8th spot now, and the Lakers are in 11th.
6.5. No, sorry. I think it's about 6.5 game difference. And I don't like looking at the games back scenario. I look at the losses category, and the Lakers have 6 more losses than the Clippers,
and they have like 7 less wins.
Right.
So,
and the Lakers have lost 4 straight games. They have not been very good.
And plus, who knows if they tie the Clippers? Will they even have the season series against them to pass them if they tie them? Who knows, right?
Now, something we can't forget to mention, as much as the Lakers have been bad, and as much as all that's been a fiasco down over there in L.A., LeBron James yesterday passes Michael Jordan for 4th on the all-time scoring list. Incredible.
And so, this is a trivia question for you, Mr.
Is this it again? Here we go. Is LeBron better than Michael Jordan?
Oh,
okay, good.
I said trivia. I didn't say
trivia.
Trivia.
Oh, God. Here we go. The history trivia. Evan's great at this stuff. I'm
Top
not.
Top three scorers in
Was it a Kareem?
So, number 1.
Kareem.
Okay. You got that one right.
Hold on. Oh, I know. I saw it yesterday. I saw the list yesterday. Get back. Can we get back to me? I'm not going to look it up, but I'm just going to get back.
Right now.
Well, I don't know. It's Kareem first.
All right. Well, number 2. Why are you going to go back to it? What, are you going to remember it? Oh, it's this player when we're talking about hockey.
I don't know. Who is it?
All right. It's Kareem 1, Karl Malone, and 3's LeBron.
LeBron's 4th. Who's 3rd?
Jordan was 3rd.
No, he's not. Sorry.
I swore
I
Jordan.
just looked it up. It's going to be number 1.
Well, I know 1's Kareem, 2's Karl Malone, and I swore 3 was Jordan.
Nope. Yeah, I know you're thinking, well, I'm sorry, I know I'm right. No, I know you're wrong, so. I know, very determined Evan Brown there. That's all right. I mean, I know I'm right, so it's okay.
Top 3 scorers in the NBA. Well,
excuse me.
Oh, Kobe. Okay, it's Kobe.
Yeah,
okay.
there you go.
So Kareem, Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant. Well, you didn't know one of them, so.
Whatever.
Jeez.
I actually got a seating right. Come on.
Kareem has 38,000 points.
That's incredible, man.
Well, he had the skyhook, right?
Still, though, my God, 38,000. Considering how great LeBron's been, he only has 32. I mean, it's still great, obviously, but.
And then he's obviously going to pass Kobe because I can't see why he wouldn't. LeBron's only, 33?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to pass Carmelo because that's a big jump. 36,000 points from 2
to over 3,000 points.
Yeah, so
that's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
Well, congratulations to the GOAT LeBron James.
Where do you think he's going to end off for the ranks?
I don't know. I think it all depends on how much longer he plays. If he can continue to play at the level he's playing at right now for, I don't know, his contract is actually still has 3 more years after this. So, I don't know, man.
I don't know if he's going to catch Carmelo.
He could.
I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know.
It really wouldn't.
It's like
He had 31 last night, by the way, on 13 to 22 shooting.
it's kind of like is Ovi gonna pass Gretzky for most goals?
Yeah, it isn't.
You know,
Yeah.
hey, it could happen, but it all depends how long he plays, right? So,
Yeah, it's exactly true. It's exactly the way it is.
exactly.
But do you want to flip to another team here? I want to try and see here. Can we talk about the Boston Celtics real quick here?
Yeah.
Last time we talked, the Raptors were playing against the Celtics and the Trailblazers, or did they already go through that?
They already went through Boston and the Trailblazers, and we spanked Boston and we beat the Trailblazers.
Right. Boston, I don't care. I don't really care that they beat Golden State in Golden State by a half-decent margin. And they narrowly, just hanging in there for dear life, beat the Sacramento Kings on a buzzer beater by Gordon Hayward. Those 2 wins mean nothing to me. They mean absolutely nothing.
So you're not giving Boston the benefit of the doubt. I love how every week you just chirp Boston like crazy. Hey, I'm with you completely.
When they're winning, we hear it all the time. So the fact that they're losing right now and we're winning, even though we've lost our last
they're
2
not.
games.
Well, no, it's the other way around. They're winning and we're losing because they won 2 straight. Okay. Or no, they won back-to-back games.
It doesn't matter. I'm talking about full season wise.
Yeah. Okay.
The Celtics are not a great team. All right, on the road. At home, they're a dynamite team. And yes, they beat Golden State and Golden State, but come on. Let me go to that game real quick here. And I'll just go through a scenario. All right. When do they play? There it is. How often is Kevin Durant not going to get 20 points and shoot 5 of 16 and go 0 of 5 from 3? He's never going to do that again. Mm-hmm. DeMarcus Cousins he got 10 points. How often are you going to see that? Not very often. Curry had 23. They didn't have Clay. And Curry only had 23. You know, you're not going to see these guys play like that. Now, you did have some players, yes. Gordon Hayward had 30. How often has he done that this year? He can have a 30-point game. How many did he have against Sacramento? 12.
I'm just saying, Gordon Hayward is the type of player who can really heat up in the playoffs.
He can heat up for one game, and then because we've seen it here. Look at those games prior to that 30-point performance. No, he didn't get in double digits for the past 6 games.
Right, but I'm saying the playoffs are a completely different story.
They are.
And this is Gordon Hayward. Yes. And I completely agree with you. This season has been an abomination for Gordon Hayward. Yeah. It's been horrible. Yeah. But the playoffs are a different story, and it's still Gordon Hayward. I think we can both agree on that. He's still a great player.
No, of course he is. But I just don't believe in the Boston Celtics as of yet. I mean, look, I guess it could just be my hatred towards Boston teams. That could be a big factor in that.
It definitely is because it's a weekly thing.
Why do you hate Edmonton?
No,
exactly.
It's a weekly thing, and maybe this should be a new podcast episode segment. Exactly. James's weekly rant on Boston teams.
I love it.
Bulls fans are already embracing the tank. They have a jersey.
The Bulls fans already bought a Williamson jersey. Well, let me just check this out real quick.
Then again, Leaf fans were buying McDavid jerseys, I'm pretty sure.
I get that, but the Bulls are... Hold on here.
They're banking on winning the draft lottery.
Which is kind of weird because they have 6 more wins than the New York Knicks. I don't know how you're... Williamson... Man, I don't know what... The Knicks might not even win 6 more games the rest of the season, let alone you guys lose the rest of them. Good luck, Bulls fans.
Now, do you believe in... No, okay, this is going to be a scorching hot take for you, but I'm going to say it anyways. Do you believe in draft lottery theories?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, I mean, if you're Adam Silver, okay, and you want to promote this great player on Duke,
yeah,
do you want him to play in a market like Phoenix or Chicago?
Well, of course, Chicago.
There you go.
However, it looks like he's going to be playing in New York.
Well, this is what I'm saying, conspiracy theory. You can market a player extremely well in a bigger basketball market because Phoenix is small.
Yeah.
Cleveland, small. Other than them having LeBron right now, all the fans have left. Yeah. They're off the bandwagon.
Yeah, no one's at the games anymore.
Exactly. New York, they're always going to have fans there. No matter how terrible they are, they're always going to have fans in Madison Square Garden, as in the Bulls as well. So you could see, hey, I'm not saying that it could happen, but you could see maybe a draft rigged. I don't know what kind of work to say it, but I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
The reason I'm not looking too much into it is because the Knicks are that much worse than every other team. In the East.
And then I could see if Phoenix was last and the Knicks were second last.
Because you look at Phoenix, they have Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton's putting a good rookie season together. They have some other guys that some okay role players. Look, Devin Booker's a great player.
He's not going to stay.
The Knicks don't have that. Dennis Smith Jr. is a great young player. but he's not a Devin Booker.
Are you?
I'm gonna go look at this is their roster, the New York Knicks. Is anybody like how much? He's only averaging 13 a game, and he's playing great. You know, it's good for him. How's Kevin Knox doing? He's averaging 12 a game.
Bottom line is
And
they don't
DeAndre
have
Jordan. They don't have anybody that can take over a game.
No, well, they don't have anyone that they can build around because they traded Chris Dobbs.
Yep.
And if they get Zahn, man, that's going to be a hell of a team.
And you know what? The thing I despise about basketball media is when they start spewing off garbage. You know, oh, the Knicks are tanking to get Zion. Then they're going to go after Kevin Durant, too. And they're going to go do this and that and all this and that and all of that. I mean, just be quiet. My God.
Well, I don't think KD's staying in Golden State.
Well, I agree with that. I can get on that. But
so what team do you think he's going to sign with?
The Knicks are terrible.
Yeah, I know. It's the market, though. He wants to be... Listen, Golden State is a powerhouse team for the last 5 years. I wouldn't consider them... They are a big market, but there's no New York. They're no Chicago. They're no Boston. They're a good team, but market-wise, they're not the city. And you can market KD so well in New York, in Chicago, in any of these major cities in the U.S., right? But I agree. And even KD was getting upset of the media saying, well, I'm not, I have no relation to New York. I have nothing.
It's not even that. They're asking him in a post-game interview, and he's like, what jersey do I have on right now? I know he didn't say this, but what jersey do I have on right now? Golden State Warriors. There you go. So lay off the questions, bud.
Yeah.
But like, honestly, look, coming out with stupid articles about this stuff, fine. That's the media. They want to stir up garbage all the time. But physically asking Kevin Durant about the offseason?
Yeah.
My God.
Players...
That's like asking Kawhi, well, where are you going to sign this year?
Players want three things when they hit free agency. Number one, they want money.
DeMarcus Cousins? Yeah, I don't know.
No, number two, they want to win. And the third thing, they want to be in a big market team. No player. That's why Toronto was for so many years they couldn't keep any free agents or get free agents to come to Toronto because no one wanted cold weather. Not really that big of a market team.
The funny thing is, I look at the whole cold weather stupid statement. New York's cold. Chicago's cold.
But no. But as a market, they're well above
as a market,
Toronto.
Yes. But if we're talking, I hate when people bring up weather because it has nothing to do with that situation.
Okay, fine. But you have to look at Toronto, and we've lost so many good stars and free agents.
Yeah.
Even the Leafs, even the Blue Jays. We've lost a lot of free agents because they wanted to go to a big market.
Well,
Not so much
the Leafs.
Well, yeah,
the Leafs were one of the biggest markets in the league. So
no, but we who did we lose? Didn't we lose Doug Gilmour? Didn't we lose Felix Potvin?
This is back in the 90s.
I'm just saying, though, we did lose a bunch of Sundin?
Well, because the Leafs weren't any good.
I'm just saying that we didn't get anything for free agents leaving. You go back to Toronto, Vince Carter, Chris Bosh.
The Raptors, I understand. Because they weren't a big market. They weren't a good team.
Blue Jays, you would know.
The Blue Jays is because of money. Because of the whole budget fiasco.
Yeah.
And we got into that many times before.
But I'm just saying, when it comes to a player, especially in basketball, it's about money, winning, and market. Those are the three big things. More money in the market they play in. Winning, that can come later. Yeah. But for DeMarcus Cousins, that came first, right? But usually that's the big three, right? So who knows?
Well, I think we can move on to the ice, get to hockey. And the Leafs. Losers last night against the Vancouver Canucks, and wasn't it fitting that a former Leaf scored against them to tie the game?
I knew it was going to happen.
You told me. We were on the phone, and we talked about
Jocelyn was definitely going to score.
In the first period, you told me that.
But at least he got it out of the way. Sure, he tied it up, but at least it wasn't a game winner.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like Peter Holland. When he was on Arizona, remember he scored that shootout winner?
Yep, of course.
There's probably some other names, but hey, at least he got it out of the way in the third period. I mean, he tied it up, but he didn't win
isn't it a characteristically a Toronto thing that former players continue to rip you apart? The reason I say that, how did the Raptors lose that first game against the Pistons this year?
Dwayne Casey.
That, and who inbounded the ball? Jose Calderon.
Out of all players.
I mean, my God. DeMar DeRozan, first career triple-double against the Raptors.
And actually, against Vancouver, Luke Shen, I think, was playing that night.
Yeah, he was.
Can you believe that?
I can't believe he's still around. Apparently, the story goes about Luke Shen that he was in the minors and was thinking about quitting.
Oh, I didn't even hear
hockey.
About that.
Yeah,
really?
They were talking about it yesterday. And San Diego Gulls head coach Dallas Eakins, I guess, told him not to hang out the skates, and here he is in Vancouver.
Well, what coach is
facing the Leafs and beating us in overtime?
Well, what coach is going to tell a player, hang him up?
Yeah, man, but no coach is going to take you to the side and say, "Hey, man, you're not a bad player." Like,
Dallas Eakins is a great coach. He was just put in the wrong situation with the Oilers,
as many coaches have.
Yeah, but there should be a stat. What former player got game winners against the Leafs? I feel like
it's a ton.
Yeah.
Same with the Blue Jays and the Raptors and all that.
But
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and that game, we were up 2-0 going into the third. I don't even know who scored the first one.
Louis Erickson.
Was it Roussel? Oh, no, okay.
No, and then obviously Antoine Roussel, my God.
Yeah. And then we had Josh Leo tying it up, and Alex Edler getting a pretty weak shot. Freddie should have had that, in my opinion, in yours too.
Yeah, on that goal, I agree. In overtime, the Leafs were awful. The shots were 4-0 in favor of the...
Mitch Marner looked sloppy that game. Trying to do too much.
Yeah, he was trying to be a little too pretty at times.
He's not strong on the puck that much.
He got a great assist to Ron Hainsey. But, I mean, really, you're on a 2-on-1. What do you expect when you're Mitch Marner? You expect to pass the puck. But can we go to Frederik Andersen for a second? And he had a great first period. The reason the Leafs were still in the game. The shots were 15-8 in the first.
He had an amazing save on, who was it? I think it was Bo Horvat.
Yeah, the dying seconds of the second period. Oh my! I mean, it wouldn't have counted because the clock was already ran down. But my goodness,
yeah, it was good.
What a big save! But that first goal by Louis Erickson was kind of like a backhand from the slot, and it just beat him far side. And I'm like, oh, Freddie, you want that back? And on that Josh Levo goal, Jake Muzzin got crossed up with his other defenseman, which led to kind of the semi-break for Josh Levo to give him the shot. Who was the other defenseman? Martin Marincin.
I thought he was playing with Zaitsev.
Well, it was on the penalty kill.
Oh.
And it was a power play goal for Josh Levo. But they got crossed up, and then, Muzzin's trying to get over to Josh Levo late, and obviously it was too late. But I'm sorry, I cannot stand Martin Marincin. He's awful.
He is, but the reason I like him is his stick is just so long.
Well, good for his stick. His feet suck and his brain stinks.
Yeah, his IQ isn't the greatest, but listen.
I miss Jake Gardner.
When he's in our own end, he can boogie. Like he can move around forwards. But I agree with you, his hockey sense isn't all there. And I'm shocked that I know Rosen's injured and Borgman's injured as well. But I'm surprised we're not giving Rasmus Sandin a little bit of a shot.
I don't know. That's a big jump. That's a big jump. I mean, obviously playing junior last year, and he hasn't played a full year with the Marlies. Same with Timothy Liljegren as well. I don't know. I mean, look, I understand why they're having Marincin up here because, you haven't. How do we put it? I mean, obviously with the two defensemen that are injured for the Leafs, obviously Travis Dermott's a huge loss, and that
Jake Garner's a huge loss as well.
Marincin and Justin Hall don't look good out there.
And I don't think Justin Hall would ever look good because he's not playing.
Exactly.
But Marincin, even him, they weren't playing him. Why wouldn't I? They would have to go through waivers, but if I was Kyle Dubas, why would you be sitting them in the press box for 2-3 months? Why wouldn't you? I don't think they're going to get claimed on waivers.
Look, I got to say, earlier in the season, I didn't think Ozhiganov was that good that Justin Hall could not play. But it's not our decision.
No, it's not. I wish these injuries would have happened before the trade deadline.
Yeah, and still Kadri's injured as well. I don't know what the deal is with him.
And what I've heard from Jake Gardner is it looks worse than it actually is. We all know what happened to Zach Parise with his back. He was out a couple months. It looks similar to that. It looks bad.
Yeah.
It looks bad. It's not just back spasms. It's something more with his back. I don't know exactly what it is, but it looks like he's going to be out quite a long time.
Well, hopefully he's back for the playoffs.
I know, but I'm just saying though, and he hasn't really had that much of an offensively gift. Like,
by the way, week to week with injury, that was what we heard a week ago, and then just last night or just yesterday actually remains week to week.
Yeah,
so
I know that's
he's
what
dealing
I'm saying.
with 2 separate injuries.
Yeah, and it's both to do with his back, and like you said, when it comes to backs and hockey players, not great. Look at Zach Parise, perfect example.
Martin Marincin cannot play a playoff game with this team, please.
Well,
I can't.
Remember him when he faced Washington? He was the reason why we lost in Game 6 in overtime, if you can believe it.
So there you go. Travis Dermott, Jake Gardner, please come back healthy.
I'm just thinking if there's anyone else in the Marlies, like Rosen, if he was healthy, bring him up. Borgman,
Vincent Laverde,
no. But Andreas Borgman, I don't think. Even
I think
if
both
he was
of them are
healthy,
injured, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, both of them are injured. But Callie Rosen for sure. Even if Borgman was healthy, I don't think I'd bring him up.
By the way, the Leafs just actually re-signed Andreas Borgman
to a 1-year deal.
And
also Garrett Sparks. Really nothing, but
Timothy Liljegren and Rasmus Sandin both had points in yesterday's win.
Let's talk about Garrett Sparks a little bit. Okay. And I don't really want to talk about it, but we kind of have to.
Yeah.
He's not an NHL goalie. It was a mistake what Kyle Dubas did in keeping him instead of McElhaney. Yep. But if you look back at it, why would you give up a 24-year-old AHL Calder-winning goalie for a guy who's 35 on the decline, which we thought?
We never saw any decline from Curtis McElhaney.
No.
There was nothing to tell me that he was going to decline at all.
But this was asset management gone wrong.
231 goals against average and a 921 save percentage. He has had 5 first-star selections in 26 games as Curtis McElhaney.
But let's just say that you were a GM of a team. You would have done the exact same thing as Kyle Dubas. Would I
really? I mean, look, you got to look at this team and say, okay. Curtis McElhaney is amazing for this team. He has been amazing since he came over here from Columbus. Yes, Garrett Sparks put up some great numbers in the AHL. You also got to look at his playing style. I'm sorry, it does not transition into NHL goaltender worthy.
Well, now we know it doesn't.
Then why don't you trade a guy like Garrett Sparks instead of letting him go through waivers and stuff?
Yeah, that I agree with. I think you should have traded Garrett Sparks after his Calder run because you would have gotten the most for him.
Because the Leafs have a couple young goalies that will eventually, in the next year or so, be taking over those Marlies jobs. Yeah. Joseph Wall, playing in Boston University or college. I'm not sure which one he's playing at. And then you have Ian Scott, who's putting up stupid numbers in Prince Albert for the Prince Albert Raiders and played with the World Juniors team for Team Canada. Yeah. Both those guys will be with the Marlies very soon. So it's not like you're running low on prospect goalies. Those 2 guys are coming up hot. And, I mean, will they be good? Well, we don't know yet. But I don't know. I did not agree with the move from day one that McElhaney was not going to be playing.
And if this is the one thing we can pick on Kyle Dubas for, a backup goalie is very important, especially in the playoffs. But I'm not trying to compare him to every GM in the league, but there's been many GMs that have done way worse than Dubas in a short amount of time.
The way I look at the scenario is what gives your team the best chance to win?
Yeah.
And in my eyes, that's Curtis McElhaney.
Yeah.
He's been amazing for this team for a year and a half, and he's not shown any signs of letting him, because he's a backup goalie, remember that. Like he hasn't played the starting minutes and wore his body down like a starting goalie does. So, yeah, he's like, 38 years old, but he ain't playing like it.
And my question to Dubas is that, sure, we have Michael Hutchinson. I think we keep forgetting about him. We still have Michael Hutchinson down in the Marlies.
Yep.
Dude, if I'm facing Boston in round 1, and then if Freddie gets hurt, I'm starting Hutchinson. There's no way I'm going with Sparks.
No. What Sparks has played, 2 or 3 games against Boston this year and got torched in all the games.
And he doesn't look good when he's playing. I'm sorry. I'm with you now, dude. I'm not comfortable the style he plays, flopping around out of his crease so much. You have a defenseman playing in goal for him half the time. Yeah. Right? It's not great, but at the same time, we have a dude we can rely on, quote unquote, with Hutchinson. Yep. Because after that, let's just say that we didn't have Hutchinson. Koski Swo, and then that dude from York University. I mean, really, it's not
so. Yeah, I can't hear the guy from York University. That's awesome.
Yeah, hey,
but he better, I guess, right? Toronto native, I guess. But
I wouldn't throw him in the playoffs.
No, what the hell? Who the hell would do that?
But yeah, just go to the goalie situation. Who's down there?
Hutchinson, his numbers aren't that great. I mean, he's 11-6-5.
But this is the type of guy that thrives in the NHL for some odd reason.
Yeah, he's the opposite of Garrett Sparks.
Yeah.
Thrives in the NHL.
Who's down to the Marlies for goalies? Kasky, Swo, and yeah, okay.
And Michael Hutchinson. How is Kasky Swo even down? Ooh, those are not good numbers.
Yeah, but I think we can both agree that it was a mistake. But you know what? Pray to God Freddie doesn't get hurt because he's looked unbelievable this season, and I think he should be nominated for the Vezina. I don't know if he should win it because of Vasilevsky.
Yeah, definitely be nominated. But that, you got to remember, Vasilevsky missed quite a bit of time as well.
No, there's no way he's not winning the Vezina unless Tampa goes on. Listen, Tampa's 20 points above Boston for the Atlantic. Or no, wait, just go to overall.
Freddie's only played 7 more games.
Go to overall.
Oh, it's stupid. It's a ridiculous number. In the entire National Hockey League, they have a 17-point gap. They're already at 106 points.
Who would they be facing in the first round?
Montreal.
And actually, Columbus is looking on the outside. Could you imagine?
Oh my God! After all those trades,
imagine if Columbus misses the playoffs?
After all those trades,
and none of them resign.
Oh my God, John Tortorella, baby, is going to be angry.
Well, he's already angry all the time, but you have got to fire your GM.
And can we talk about the Carolina Hurricanes?
Bunch of jerks.
They're now third in the Metropolitan Division. They're 8-1-1 in their last 10 games. They're 36-23.
I mean, hey, if they continue to do those awesome celebrations, which I love
them too.
You're trying to make hockey into a fun sport for everybody. Carolina has no fans, but you're bringing in fans because of these celebrations. What Don Cherry is saying, what Brian Burke are saying, they're a bunch of old hockey men that don't matter. And hey, listen, Carolina, do what you do, right? We support you on the TO Sports Talk podcast. Keep doing those bat flips, bowling, and duck duck goose or duck duck gut, whatever it's called.
Duck duck gut. But
I don't know.
I mean, look, I love what they're doing over there in Carolina. I think
they're bringing in fans for the kids,
and they have a good goaltender. They haven't had that in quite a while since Cam Ward was in his prime.
When was that? 2006.
And you know who their good goalie is? Curtis McElhinney.
And it's funny because they were banking on Scott Darling to be their goalie.
And Peter Mrazek.
Well, more Scott Darling after that big contract they signed.
I guess, yeah. True.
But yeah, I mean, McElhinney's been, mind you, I don't know how he's going to perform if they make it in the playoffs, but we've doubted him for so long. Curtis McElhinney may steal a couple of games for them in the playoffs if they make it.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's
Can we go to the Western Conference real quick here? Because there's a few things I want to open our eyes about a little bit. First things first. No, nothing in that divisions that I want to talk about. The Arizona Coyotes are 3 points out of a playoff spot. Arizona Coyotes, for goodness sakes, are 3 points out of a playoff spot.
Without their starting goalie, without Stepan's injured. I know, who's that guy they got from Chicago again? He's out for the year.
Schmaltz.
Schmaltz is injured. Ryan Schmaltz. I think
Nick Schmaltz.
Nick? Okay.
Yeah. Close enough, right? Yeah, whatever.
But I can't see them making a wild card spot. Can you?
No, I really can't. But I mean, Minnesota's decimated with injuries right now.
Are they?
I think Ryan Suter is injured as well. If I'm not mistaken, I think he just got injured. Matt Dumb obviously is out for a while. I swear I just got an update saying he was injured.
It seems like Ryan Suter and Zach Parise are always injured. But out of now, I think this was a question on the pod, but let's just get into it. In the West, Dallas and the Wild have the final 2 wild card spots. Now, I don't think, even with Brassard being a pretty good pickup for the Avalanche, I don't know. They're the definition of a one-line team. So was Boston. But I think with them, their goaltending's been iffy. And
for Boston, their goaltending's been good.
Exactly. And other than their first line, like I said, really, let's go to their team quickly. I can't see them making the playoffs.
Grubauer's been mediocre at he's been less than mediocre. Varlamov has not been very good either. So
910's not horrible.
No, but a 280 something. Yeah, no.
He's been. It's
not a starting goalie type of deal.
Dude, you keep saying this, but a 910 is the average now because scoring's up. You have to realize that.
And considering Freddie's like a 923 or something is ridiculous.
I know, but I'm just saying a 910 is pretty much average. But like you say, Tyson Jost, Really, he's not. Other than Landeskog, McKinnon, and
Soderberg as well, having a good year.
Yeah. Other than McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen, I mean, really. And their defense is subpar. I don't know. I just think that Minnesota, Matt Dumba is coming back from injury.
Eventually.
So I think that they can be in the final wild card spot.
However, I mean, will it, at that point in time when he does come back, though, will it be too little too late is going to be the question.
Who's past Arizona, points-wise? So
Edmonton's won 3 straight games. You look into it at all?
No.
I don't.
I don't either. I think that Connor McDavid should have won the Hart last year, and he didn't.
I just don't. You cannot go into the playoff. You cannot make a playoff spot with that goaltending tandem of Mikko Koskinen and Anthony Stolarz.
Hey, I would take their goalies over the ones they have in Arizona now. Who do they even have in Arizona?
Darcy Kemper. He's putting a great year together.
Go to Arizona.
And Antti Ranta, who's obviously injured, but
Calvin Pickard.
Yeah, 255 and a 918. He's putting a really good season together in 40 games played.
I would trust Koskinen over him.
I
mean, not by much.
How many games did Rantanen play? 12 games. Is he out for the year? Is he
actually? If you want to go to the Oilers quickly,
like he done for the regular season, there.
Justy Puljujarvi is having hip surgery. He's going to be out for the entire year. That's massive because can a player like that who's already struggled in that organization rebound from a hip injury
at 20 years old?
Well, the age. I mean, yeah. Man, I think they got to cut ties with that prospect. It sucks, but Edmonton is just not good at developing.
They're horrendous at developing. And can we talk about how Craig McTavish is still there? Like, how is this guy still around?
How is Daryl Cates still around?
How are their like owner? They're like, we already know about Peter Chiarelli and guys like that getting fired, but I mean, their whole organization is an abomination.
Listen, I don't think they have to. They have to clean house management, and I think that that's the first thing they got to do. Their head coach has been good. Ken Hitchcock has been good for them.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think that's the first thing they got to do. Same as Ottawa. Oh yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
Guy Boucher been fired, which is really, really weird.
Yeah, because he has nothing to work with,
and not even that. A week before, Peter Dorian, of course, the
GM.
No, I was going to say the guy who says rebuild a million times in a press conference.
Yeah.
Said in one of those trade press conferences.
Yeah.
Guy Boucher's our coach. He's our guy.
And then
a week later, you fire him.
And then in that press conference, when he fired him, he was mentioning about potential. He basically said,
did Mark Crawford take over?
Yeah, but he basically cited what Guy Boucher didn't do right for this organization. They said, okay, well, we're going to look for someone who's hardworking, loyal, can help our young players. It's like,
well, what did Guy Boucher do?
Exactly.
Didn't he bring them to almost a Stanley Cup final appearance?
They're throwing Guy Boucher under the bus, and I don't think that's right at all.
Peter Dorian's an idiot. Melnick's an idiot.
I still think that Dorian doesn't have full control over that team. I think that it's Melnick doing all these trades.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
And
it reminds me of the Raptors with Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster. Nobody talks about Bobby Webster, but he's the actual GM.
Except Ujiri actually does pretty good trades. Melnick,
but it's Bobby Webster who's the general manager.
No, yeah, I know what you mean.
Nobody talks about him.
No, but with this, it's like you got a good return for Mark Stone. An okay return. Sure, you didn't get that first round pick, but apparently Eric Branstrom's supposed to be extremely good.
Yeah,
extremely
we've heard
good.
A lot of things when it comes to supposed to be good.
Yeah,
when it comes
prove
to
it.
Especially the Oilers too. You hear a lot about that.
But we're hearing that he may be the best defenseman in that draft, as good as Shabbat. Hey, only time will tell, but we'll see. Zingle, you did pretty well on 2 seconds, and I think a prospect.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Expiring contract, isn't he?
Expiring contract, right. And then the Matt Duchene bit, the picks involved. We don't really know how that works, but a pretty good return. Actually, a really good return for Matt Duchene. So I think that you're on the steady rebuild. But you don't have your first for this year in their last place now.
I know. And then that's the part. You look at Colorado, my goodness.
Actually, the draft lottery should be coming up in about a month.
Isn't it when playoffs start?
It's in April. It's like in the middle of the playoffs. I think it's early to mid-April. I think last year was like April 15th or 16th or something like that. But that's going to be interesting.
It is. It really is.
That's going to be interesting.
By the way, the Leafs take on the Oilers on Saturday. 7 o'clock start there in Edmonton. It's probably like an afternoon game for them.
Oh, and they're probably going to whine and complain, typical Toronto, starting on time for them and starting earlier for us.
Yep. Bite me. Oilers fans.
Pretty much. But you want to go around the league?
By the way, the Leafs, if they win that game,
they clinch?
No, not even that. It's just the Oilers fans can be quiet about going after the playoffs. They won 3 straight now, right? So they're all on their high horse thinking, well, here we come, people. You're still like, 7 points out of a playoff spot.
And we would sweep the season series against them, too.
Yeah, and the first one was not even a contest. So
didn't we face them 3 times?
I feel like we did. But no, it's a Western Conference.
Yeah, I know we would face them twice, but I feel like this would be the 3rd time.
Maybe not. I think it was just twice.
So let's go around the league a little bit before we swing to baseball, because I know the Blue Jays are on a bit of a winning streak, and we got to talk about that
in the spring.
Yeah, really nothing. I mean, I can't.
There's not a whole lot really. I mean, you could talk about the Boston Bruins and Marcus Johansson with a lung contusion. He'll be really reevaluated in a week.
So he's going to be out long term, it seems like.
Thank goodness. You hate to say it, but for the Leafs, and you were talking to me about this before the podcast, and I think I tend to agree with you a little bit. The Washington Capitals theory about everyone thinking, we're going to go into Boston and we're going to get wiped. What did the people think last year about the Washington Capitals? Well, they're facing Pittsburgh again. They'll get through the first round. They'll beat Columbus. They barely did. And then they'll face Pittsburgh. Oh, okay. Well, they're going to lose to Pittsburgh again, and that's going to be that for the Washington Capitals. No, they beat the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they go on to the Stanley Cup Finals, and they win. The Leafs are going to be taking on the Boston Bruins, probably in the first round. Our Demons and everybody, Leaf fans included, for the most part, think the Leafs are just going to lose. Maybe that's a good theory to have. I know it doesn't sound right.
But for right now, I think we can both agree Boston in the first round, I can't see us. Reverse psychology. We're going to lose in 4.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know about 4.
Reverse psychology.
Right, but no one said that Washington was going to get swept in 4 games. They said they were going to lose the series, but not by 4.
You never know. But reverse psychology, and who knows, it may work.
And last thing I want to say before the Jays.
Yeah.
One number that has been very good this year, except for last night against Vancouver. The Leafs last night had their first loss this year when leading after 2 periods of play.
Yeah, because that's
32 and now 1.
Yeah, because that stupid reporter jinxed it when he
interviewed Ron Hainsey.
Yeah,
and he's like, and then Ron's like, just be quiet, don't drink this. Then he leaves, then they lose in the 3rd.
Was that Kalbakauskas?
No,
that you don't
some
like?
guy on Vancouver. I don't know. It must be some Vancouver guy because I've never seen him before, like David Murphy or something. I don't know.
So it wasn't Kalbakauskas.
No,
from Seneca.
Yeah, I know he wasn't. That's just what we say. But holding leads in 3rd periods, we've gotten used to seeing that in the playoffs against the Bruins, just losing those. And with the Leafs 32-1, and when holding a lead into the 3rd period, it's good, but it tells you need to play better first and second. Anyways, let's move to baseball here in the Blue Jays. Spring training is fully underway. By the way, guys, Blue Jays video will be uploaded today.
I thought you
Blue
said
Jays spring
yesterday.
Training. Didn't get a chance to do it, so
why not?
That's okay. Busy stuff, you know what I'm saying? And that'll be going on tomorrow or today. Actually, it'll be uploaded. The reason I didn't want to do one yesterday, one, I was busy. Number 2. The Leafs were playing, and there's no videos today. There's no games on today, so I thought, why not spread them out a little bit and fire out a Jays video today? And
so I've said, this was last podcast, that you want to see Vladdy Guerrero Jr. struggle and to see his flaws in spring training. And he's doing that as we speak. He hasn't looked that good. He's looked okay. But what's your thoughts on Vladdy? Well, before we get into the games, because you already you're going to talk about those.
Well, we haven't really. I mean, look, in a very small sample size, we've gotten so used to seeing Vladimir Guerrero Jr. crush 300 and hit a bunch of dingers and rip pitching apart. In his spring training so far, yesterday he only went 1 for 4. And he's only hitting 250. That's not what we're used to seeing from Vladdy. I don't think he's hit a home run yet this spring.
But he's facing major league pitchers
for
the first time.
Somewhat. I mean, some of them aren't. I don't know who pitched yesterday for the Phillies. Velasquez, he's an MLB player, but the rest of the guys that faced him probably I don't really know. So I don't know. For me, I don't look at Vladdy because right now he's not with the ball club, and I don't think he's going to make the team out of camp. That's just my opinion. And clearly, from what Atkins has said, it's not going to happen.
Exactly. And I don't understand Jays fans when he came out, our GM, and he said, well, Vladdy isn't going to be MLB ready. And then Jays fans were obviously saying, oh, well, what's this guy doing? Like, it's just ripping him apart. He watched Vladdy play. He knows Vladdy best. I mean, he sees him all the time playing. He can obviously read if he's an MLB player or not.
Yep.
So he knows best. Let him say whatever he wants.
Just because you can hit the ball a million miles doesn't mean you're a big league player.
You're not a complete player.
Right away. He's 19 years old. What's the rush?
Exactly.
This Jays team is not going to be very, very good this year.
Yeah.
So why bother killing yourself over it, bringing him up in April?
So who did we face yesterday?
The Phillies. And if Jays fans love looking at records and love looking at
Harper
stats.
playing?
No, he wasn't. I know. We'll get
Let's
into
get
that.
into
We'll get into it a little bit. Phillies were 7-2 going into that game. Jays were 3-6. So on paper, Jays should lose. Well, the Jays win 9-7. They get 14 hits. Kevin Biggio, one of the Jays prospects, gets a home run in the game. Anthony Alford, another prospect, hits a home run as well. Great to see from those guys get their at-bats going.
And you saw Grichuk home run too. I think this was
it was a
couple games ago. Yeah. So, hey, it'd be nice to see him actually start off strong.
Yeah,
rather than last year.
Yeah, and he's only hitting 250 right now, but I mean, a lot of the guys are having rough springs. Dalton Pompey is a guy that I'm excited to watch, man.
Is he finally going to break out of that?
Well, he's hitting 316 in the spring so far. Yesterday he had 2 for 4 with 3 ribs. I know I'm not getting into the stats because this is just one game. I'm not going to talk about it.
And it's spring training.
Right. But he's got to impress somehow. He hasn't had a lot of big league time to impress, and he wasn't healthy last year.
So could you see a challenge for a spot?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting up there. How old is he now? He's now 26 years old. I mean, he really hasn't got.
He's in that range of what are you?
Right. Exactly.
He's not a prospect, but he's not a full-time MLB player. So it's like, kind of thing.
And some positive strides for Jays fans, positive thoughts are Aaron Sanchez. Not been able to stay healthy the last 2 years. Hasn't pitched consistently over the last 2 years at all. And in his minimal 2 starts in the spring so far, I don't know what his number. I think he pitched like 1 or 2 innings in his first start, and he went scoreless.
Right.
And yesterday, he went 2 2/3, gave up 1 hit, walked a couple, but struck out 3, no runs given up. So he's pitched 4 2/3 of 1 hit ball, and hasn't given up a run. So if you're looking at a positive, Aaron Sanchez has been very good in the spring. Marcus Stroman had an iffy start, and of course Troy Tulowitzki hits a home run off him. I think we already talked about that in the last.
What are you
pod.
looking for out of those 2 players? Are you more high on Sanchez or Stroman?
Honestly, I think both of them. Just hear me out. Both guys are coming off terrible years. The year prior, Marcus Stroman threw together an amazing season. The year prior, Aaron Sanchez had a ERA title.
Yeah.
Both guys in the last few years have put together some fantastic years. But due to injury last year with Stroman and Sanchez, they never found any sort of consistency. And then the year prior, Aaron Sanchez was dealing with the whole blister issue. Neither guy in the last year pitched over 110 innings.
So basically, both of them didn't get a fair shot last year due to injuries, and they were, who knows, maybe they were playing hurt a couple games.
Yeah, they definitely were. You definitely saw, Sanchez always looking at his hand and looking at his finger because there was something wrong with it, and Stroman was dealing with stuff almost the entire year. So neither guy was good. And if they're both 100% healthy, ready to go, I'm excited to see what these guys got in store for us.
So in your mind, what do you think is going to be the starting rotation? I know it's only a couple of games into spring training, but obviously those 2, Stroman and Sanchez, are your 1-2. After that, because you got to have, 4?
Yeah, and a 5.
5. Who are your other 3?
Well,
in your opinion?
In my opinion, you got to throw, obviously, Stroman, Sanchez, and I think the Jays actually just picked up Clay Buchholz from free agency. I think that's a pretty darn good pickup. He's got some veteran presence in the rotation. You help him out with some young guys like Ryan Baracki and even Aaron Sanchez and guys. Look, he's here to start.
Yeah.
So I guess he's going to be in the rotation, or at least he's going to fight for a spot in the rotation. But I think if I had to put the 5 together, I think it would be Stroman, Sanchez, Shoemaker. Not in any order. Stroman, Sanchez, Shoemaker, Clay Buchholz, and Ryan Baracki.
Okay.
The other guy, Clayton Richard, is the only guy with the odd man out. The only reason I don't want him in the rotation is because he's not a great starter, and he's a lefty. I'd love him out of the bullpen.
After Stroman and Sanchez, I mean, it really goes kind of downhill from there.
What do you expect?
Baraki is a great young pitcher, but he hasn't seen a lot of action.
No.
And I mean, I can guarantee, and I keep saying this on the podcast, but it is true. I think we're gonna have a worse season than last year.
I agree. I do agree.
It's going to be more fun,
Yep.
but worse.
Exactly. I think you're going to see a lot of great young players this year
And a lot of
play for the
growing
Jays,
pains.
and there's going to be a lot of growing pains in these guys.
So let's go around the league here because a massive signing, massive. Bryce Harper going to the Phillies in a 13-year, $133 million deal.
No, it wasn't 130. It was 330.
Sorry, 330. My bad. This is the biggest deal in sports history.
American sports
history. And baseball and football are always up there being the highest, paying the players the highest because no salary cap. You can't see this being... For right now, it's good, obviously. He can get you 40 home runs, right?
The thing about Bryce Harper, though, I mean, look, he's what, 25 years old, 26 years old now?
I think he's 26.
He's 26 years old now. Do the math. 13. He's 39.
And, yeah, I mean, really. And
for him, good for him. Making a ton of dough for a lot of years.
I think the only player that had the longer contract would be Rick DiPietro. 16 years.
That was stupid. That's a stupid contract.
But then again,
the contract ain't even done yet. So,
well, Bryce Harper is a much better player than Rick DiPietro, even when DiPietro was in his prime. But I'm saying, hey, great for the Phillies for getting hitting, but at the same time, after 7 years, you can't see. I mean, I would maybe the first 8 or 9 years it'd be okay.
Yeah, and then you have 4 more. It's gonna be like Albert Pujols. I mean.
Or who's that guy on the? They were saying that the Mets had to buy out some dude that they signed in free agency in '94, and they're still paying him to this day. Bobby Biana or something like that. I don't know. But with Bryce Harper, he's obviously trying to get more players on the team. He was obviously speaking to Mike Trout, saying, "Oh,
that contract is gonna scare me." Mike Trout's contract.
Who do you think is a better player?
Oh, Trout. No question about it. I'm sorry. Anybody who says that Bryce Harper is better is a Looney Tune.
Yeah.
Look, power-wise, okay, Bryce Harper might have the power side of it, but everything else is Mike Trout. He's a faster player? Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think he's pretty close on that. Defender, Mike Trout. Arm, they're both pretty good. But when it comes to hitting in contact, I'm sorry. 2 years ago, Bryce Harper, he hit 320 and he had 50 home runs or around there, and he was great. Last year, barely hit over 200. Yeah, he gave you a lot of power. Mike Trout is going to consistently hit you 300. I think his career average is almost 300, if not already 300 for his career.
Do you think that he could bring Trout from the Angels to the Phillies?
I mean,
hey, it's not out of the realm because I don't know if you saw this, but Bryce Harper says he wants to put Philly back on the map.
So are we talking about a player leaving Los Angeles?
Well, the ugly stepsister Los Angeles team.
I know the Dodgers are the main team.
It's like someone leaving the Brooklyn Nets. Or
leaving the Rangers and go to the Islanders, right?
No, leaving the Islanders because they're
or leaving the Yankees and going to the Mets.
Yeah, or leaving the Jets and going to the Giants, kind of thing. But yeah,
hold on a second.
The ugly stepsister is the Jets.
You goddamn right it was.
So, anyways, well, actually, speaking of football,
no, let's not.
No, I'm not. I'm not talking about this. This has to do with Bryce Harper.
Okay.
He reached out to Le'Veon Bell saying we can use you in Philadelphia.
Hey, the Phillies are a scary team this year, man. Look, even with the team they have right now, their additions this offseason, they look really, really good.
I'd be shocked if he can bring over Trout and Le'Veon Bell to the Eagles.
I agree, and I don't want Le'Veon Bell to go to the Eagles because I don't like the Eagles. So there's that.
Well, at least he's not going to the Cowboys.
But you look... Well, that's true. Let's not get into that kind of stuff. I'll get too fired up for that kind of stuff. But you're looking at the Philadelphia Phillies, and look, they have a good-looking team over there. They got David Robertson, Yankees closer. I think he's fantastic. I mean, obviously, he's been great for many, many years. They get JT Realmuto, the guy we were talking about in the offseason from the Miami Marlins. He's a great-looking player. only at 27 years of age. You know, Gene Segura is going to constantly hit you 300, and he's only 28 years old.
They can definitely make the playoffs.
And then obviously Andrew McCutchen at the dying years of his dying times of his career, I guess. But
Bryce Harper has a Phillies hat on already. Oh no, he doesn't.
No, that's a Nats hat. But then you bring Bryce Harper as well. That team is scary. Their offseason has been really, really good.
So speaking of the Nats, man, they're gonna be because they were a 500 team last year, weren't they?
You just lost Bryce Harper. I mean,
it's
I don't
like
care
losing
who you
John
are.
Tavares for the Islanders.
Yeah.
But then again, they could thrive under.
They signed Patrick Corbin, the really sought after lefty in the rotation this year. But again, you lose a guy like Bryce Harper, it's tough, man.
Well, thank goodness all of this debacle's out of the way when it comes to free agency.
Yeah, it took spring training to start for it to happen.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, who knows?
It's like it's like John Tavares not waiting till preseason in hockey in September to start to sign a contract.
Well, that already happened with Nylander. So.
That didn't happen until December, but even if it happened in September, we're like, wow, this is really late. Yet no baseball fans are saying that. It's really odd.
Yeah.
But I think
let's go to the podcast questions here quickly. We got a few.
We got a few questions there. All right,
we got
good
a
stuff.
few. Yeah.
I'm just gonna pull them up here. I wasn't prepared for
Twitter
that.
doc mode. Yeah, you shut off your phone and then you turned it back.
Oh,
on.
I wasn't ready for it. Yeah, I'm just a really depressed Giants fan right now. We're not going to get into that kind of stuff, okay? Please and thank you. All right. So, Mr. Anonymous himself, thoughts on Lakers not making the playoffs? We already talked about that. Roderick, what teams do you think will clinch a wild card spot? Personally, I think Columbus and the Canadiens for the East, and the Stars and Coyotes for the West. Now, I like those two teams in the wild card. However, Columbus is obviously shaken lately, but with those two teams that you just mentioned making that wild card spot, you're saying Carolina's going to be out with the way they've played lately?
No, you're saying Pittsburgh's going to be out.
Well, I mean, if Carolina jumps Pittsburgh, then they'll be in the divisional spot.
Listen, if you're nuts to bet on to go against Sidney Crosby, do not bet on Pittsburgh not making the playoffs. Personally, I think it's going to be Pittsburgh moving into the third position in the Metro.
Yeah.
And then, honestly, I think that Columbus is going to make the playoffs, but I think it's going to be Columbus and Carolina. Final wild card. I don't think Montreal's going to make it.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. It'd be Columbus. They can't possibly miss the playoffs. They can't possibly.
Not with all those additions that they have.
It would be fun.
Just can't.
It would be more fun if they didn't.
Well, of course it would be.
But I don't think that they're going to miss the playoffs.
So you think Montreal's going to be out?
I think it's going to be in the final two wild card spots. It's going to be Carolina and Columbus, and Pittsburgh's going to move third into the.
That's what I see happening. But do you see the Islanders staying on top there in the second spot? Yeah,
they're a good team.
They've been struggling lately, but
Robin Leonard has been doing amazing, and I mean,
he's actually injured right now, undisclosed day to day.
Who's backing him up? Is that Thomas Greiss? Oh, jeez.
And former Leaf goalie Christopher Gibson.
At least he wasn't facing us in that game.
Yeah, thank God. He probably got a shutout.
So I'm saying in the final two spots, Columbus and Carolina. What about you?
I am kind of done doubting the Carolina Hurricanes. Look, I thought they were going to die off a long time ago. Yeah. We're almost 70 games into the year, and there's 13 games over 500, and they're 8-1-1 in their last 10. They're playing some great hockey. Mm-hmm. And they have a great goaltender in Curtis McElhinney. I don't know if they'll keep up the pace, though. And with the way the Pittsburgh Penguins have played lately, it's going to be a dogfight.
You can't bet against Sidney Crosby.
No, I never can. So if I would have to say it, I would probably go the same way. I don't see Carolina, just the way Pittsburgh is. They're always a team that just claws and fights. And if you look at the first round matchup right now, Washington-Pittsburgh in round one. So there you go. It'd be the first time in a while it's been a round one matchup between those two.
Right, but I mean, I think you got to worry more about Montreal. And so you can see Montreal falling out in the Columbus.
I don't know if I see Columbus making it.
Really?
Look, the additions are great, but they haven't really worked all that much lately. And with teams like Montreal playing some all right hockey, and even though they're 5-5 in their last 10, and Pittsburgh playing well, and all the teams ahead of them, especially in their division, playing really, really well.
Thank God the Leafs are where they are. Like, that's tight.
Yeah.
It's extremely tight.
Yeah. I mean, we're moaning because of the division we're in. At least we have a playoff spot, right?
I mean, look who we're facing, but at the same time, we're not in Montreal's point of view, and so who knows?
Hey, Florida can use a favor today and beat Boston. That'd be great. Probably not, but look at the odds. I mean, it's 220. Like, that's ridiculous.
Are they playing
in Boston too? It's going to be a gong show.
Guy Guyver's going to be fired up. I hate that guy.
I do too. But you know what? It's okay because the Leafs
why
are our playoff team.
Yeah, but we're going to be facing them in the first round. And
How about we just enjoy it? And maybe if we can beat the Bruins, because you know what we're going to hear, right? If we actually beat the Bruins, oh, you beat us one time, we beat you three or twice or whatever that it was. You know you're going to hear it all the time.
But you know what? We just want to beat them once.
But I think that's going to wrap it up.
I think it's going to wrap it up.
That's going to wrap up this episode, season 2, episode 9 of the TO Sports Talk podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, or this, this podcast.
Yeah.
Whether you listened it or you watched it. You didn't really watch much, but if you watched it on YouTube or listened to it on YouTube,
could
or
you imagine
just
just staring at that picture?
Wow,
staring at it for an hour and 9 minutes.
Yeah, those are my teams.
Those are my teams.
For an hour and 10 minutes.
That's actually off-centered, eh?
I don't care. It's right there. It's beautiful. He's off-centered.
A little bit. Towards the Jays.
Yeah, I asked you beforehand, so look all right? You're like, yeah, it's fine. Okay, let's go.
But guys, thank you for listening to episode 9. We'll be back next week, probably same time, same place. And you're going to be talking to them tonight, Blue Jays edition.
Well, not too long from now, probably this afternoon, or Blue Jays edition. And we'll talk to you guys tomorrow, Raptors, as they head to New Orleans to take on the Brow. And
the Brew
and the New Orleans Pelicans. And as for the Leafs, they take on the Edmonton Oilers on Saturday night at 7:00 in Edmonton. In Edmonton. All right. So thank you guys so much for listening. Evan and I thank you guys so much for your support every single week, and we will talk to you guys next week, same time, same place. We'll talk to you guys then.
Peace.